I'm going to be presenting the book to you, The Missing Chums. It's a part of the Hardy Boys series, and it is by Franklin W. Dixon and presented by me, Stewart. So this book takes place in Bayport, and a place referred to as Shantytown, and the Hardy's place, so their house. And it's the summer it's the midsummer, about in the 1900s, and the main characters are the teenagers: Jerry Gilroy, Tony Prito, Joe and Frank Hardy, Biff Hooper, and Chet Morton. Okay, so my story is about a group of friends who are involved in two suspicious mysteries. Joe and Frank try to piece together a puzzle of two mysteries. The first mystery is a bank robbery, and the other is the kidnapping of their two dear friends. The story takes place in Bayport, and in a place referred to as Shantytown, and on the coast of Bayport and its islands known as Barmet Bay. Frank Hardy's best friends, Biff Hooper and Chet Morton, are missing. Interestingly, Chet was last seen at a costume party wearing the same gorilla suit as his friend Joe Hardy. Strangely, the same night while picking up ice cream before the party, Joe and his brother witnessed a bank robbery. Was the wrong gorilla kidnapped? Were Joe and Frank Hardy the intended victims? A case of mistaken identity. Could these two mysteries have some kind of connection? Hardy's taken upon themselves to find their missing friends and are soon involved in an investigation that leads them throughout Bayport and the islands off Barmet Bay. This is with the missing chums being found and the mysteries all being connected and solved. I call this book a realistic fiction and mystery book, and recommend it to people who enjoy mysteries because it is filled with suspense and action. The conflict is completely external because it is filled with kidnapping and never-ending mysteries where the Hardy Boys' lives were endangered. I really enjoyed this book and would rate it 4 out of 5, and you can get it at a local bookstore.
Okay, Jerry replied, I'll watch him. Don't worry, he won't get away. The Hardy slipped into the dark crack from which the man had emerged. Snapping out his flashlight, Frank groped forward as fast as he dared. Soon he could make out the yellow glare of the rescuers' flashlights and the backs of Pops and Fritz Stark standing behind Biff and Chet. For the last time, I'll tell you, throw down your guns, Stark ordered, if you don't want these kids hurt. Without pausing, Frank and Joe charged forward. Together they let drive with 2 bruising tackles. The legs of the criminals buckled underneath them. The revolvers flew from their hands, and the men landed dazed on the floor of the cave. The police and the seamen were upon them in seconds. Frank, Joe, cried Chet, overjoyed, as soon as his hands were.
Chet continued, this outfit is a part of a national ring of bank robbers. Duke, Moran, and Glazer were sent first to case the banks around here and decide on Bayport. Do you know where the loot is? Joe asked. Right here, I'll bet. Chet pointed at his feet. I noticed loose earth the first day. Immediately, Frank and Joe, aided by the 2 policemen, began to scoop away the earth with pocket knives and their bare hands. In a few minutes, they had dragged out the canvas sacks filled with money. Now, one more thing, Joe said. Let's search for the rest of the Yokohama's radios. They're right here, Biff volunteered, and led the others to a shadowy corner of the cave where an open crate stood. Chet and I have been tied up next to them all the time. Those crooks were sure mad at Sudden said it was his fault that they only dared sell 3.